everybody, I'm Trish, and many of you will know me from Facebook as Trishy Trish, or now Fracking, because he won't let me be Trishy Trish anymore. Firstly, can I thank you all for coming today? It's a bloody miserable day, but it's really good to see so many people coming out. I helped to admin the Scotland Against Fracking group, and can I just say firstly what an incredible privilege and honour it is to support and work alongside Paul Young, founder of the Scotland Against Fracking movement. He's the organiser of today's protest, and at just 16-year-old he really is a very inspirational young man. Now we're going to hear a lot from the industry in the coming weeks. We'll hear how without shale gas the Grangemouth refinery will need to close. We'll hear how the area needs jobs. We'll hear that the shale gas will bring prosperity to the area. And they'll even try to tell us that fracking is perfectly safe and that it's been happening in the UK since the 1940s. We'll hear misinformation, questionable science and blatant lies. And we'll hear it all from qualified experts who will patronise us and they'll try to make us feel inferior. The industry's got its own experts, governments, the House of Lords and independent scientists. Though how on earth they can be independent and paid by the industry, God only knows. They've got vast resources that they can access to help state their case. They want us to feel completely overwhelmed. They want us to feel powerless. They want us to be silent. But there's one weapon that every single one of us here today has, that all the resources that they choose to throw at us can't fight. And that weapon is knowledge. Knowledge. There's no defence against truth. And the frackers know it, and it scares the bejesus out of them. I found myself last week standing outside Falkirk Town Hall, debating fracking with a chap who came across and introduced himself to me as a geologist. So of course I thought, oh brilliant, a geologist. Call me presumptuous, but I just presumed that he would be on my side, what with having knowledge of seismology and so on and so forth. So I was somewhat surprised when he started to tell me that fracking's perfectly safe. We argued back and forth. He told me because I was there protesting the underground coal gasification. So firstly he got quite smart and said, well you do know that's not fracking, don't you? And I said, yes I do, but that's why we're here protesting, because it's still unconventional gas. The Scottish moratorium is supposed to be on unconventional gas. So why is the underground coal gasification not included? He then went on to tell me fracking wells wouldn't leak because they're capped. They're capped to a depth of 100 metres and they drill down upwards of a mile. So basically that's like putting a cork in a bottle. And you all know what happens if you put a cork in a bottle and you shake it up a wee bit, the cork blows. It's not rocket science, is it? He then told me that we didn't have to worry about it because SEPA would robustly regulate the industry. We've all heard this robust regulation over and over again, change their record. I pointed out that contamination usually occurs after the drillers have left and that SEPA don't monitor closed sites. So up until this point, all this guy saw in front of him was a wee Falkirk housewife with two wains hanging off her and a few facts. Of course he'd be able to put me in my place. I could almost feel him sneering at me as he tried to bat me away from his expensive jacket like a pesky wee fly. And then he hit me with his prized chestnut, the same one Tom Pickering of Ineos pulled out of his hat at Bishop Briggs when he was losing his argument. And here it is. Of course fracking's safe. It's been going on since the 1940s. And this is where I chose to fire my weapon. And it was these words. The fracking you talk about is completely different from modern slurry-based hydraulic fracturing. And you, as a geologist, really must know that. So how did he react to that, do you think? Do you think he had a valid argument that he could back up with that? No, I didn't know what to say. He was dumbfounded and he was shocked. And at this point, his secretary grabbed him and ushered him away as quickly as he could, because I had called him on his deception and he had nowhere to go. Suddenly I had changed before his very eyes. I wasn't any longer a wee daft housewife standing in front of him, I was a knowledgeable activist. Suddenly I was a threat. At this point, like I say, his rather flustered secretary rushed him away from me. I was then informed, much to my delight I must add, that the chap that I had been debating with was in fact Dr. Ian Duncan, a geologist, a scientist, and a Tory member of the European Parliament. A paid lackey, basically, sent to convince us using lies and deceit. Now, would such deception be made necessary if the industry is as safe as they claim it to be? No. Now, I don't claim to be some kind of expert. I've not got a degree or letters after my name. But I'm a mum. I'm a lioness protecting my cubs. And I've got internet access. I didn't need to go on a course or spend days in a classroom to gain the knowledge that I've got now. I did it all from my sofa. I taught myself as much as I could about this sordid industry because it threatens my wee babies and I'm not having it. And gradually I changed. I changed from a wee housewife to a threat. Each and every one of us here today has got the power to make that same change. There's endless information available online. Read it, absorb it, and use it. Become a threat. Knowledge is power. People standing in unison is power. But see the two combined? That's unstoppable. If every one of you goes home today and educates a friend, our voices double. They tell their friends and our voices triple. There are three things that are going to win us this fight. Unity, knowledge, and the strength that comes from numbers. One voice. Let's stand side by side as parents, children, brothers and sisters. Let's tell the government and Inuits and Jim Ratface Ratcliffe that we'll not sit idly by and allow them to decimate our lands, our water and our children's futures. I want us all to stand and shout at the top of our united voices, frack off Inuits! Yes. Frack off Inuits! Frack off Inuits! Hands together! Put your hands to the person standing next to you. Join hands, one voice! One voice! Frack off!